testify for you. I do that 3, 4 times, 6 midnight, testify for you.
Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making this all over t-shirt using a small printer. Now if you want to know how to make all over t-shirts and you have a small printer, this is the place for you. If you want to know how to do your designs in Canva and be able to print directly from your design created in Canva, go ahead and look at the video that I have linked in the description. It will give you a full, very easy tutorial on how to create your image in Canva, not Photoshop. I did this because I did have a way in Photoshop, but Photoshop is too expensive. You have to get a monthly subscription to Photoshop now. You have to go into a contract. I just had to literally pay to get out of a contract with Photoshop. So if you do not have Photoshop yet, please read before you subscribe to Photoshop, because they do put you in a contract and you have to pay out the year if you do not complete that year. It's not something that I use for anything other than just the all over shirts I was using it for, but I do not design in Photoshop. I've been designing in Canva for so long, like I don't even want to learn anything else. Like I love Canva. I'm able to do so much in it. So I hope that video helps you guys, and welcome to my channel once again. If you're new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and go ahead and give me a like here. We're gonna go ahead and get started on making this t-shirt, and let me know how you guys like it in the end. Thanks. Alrighty, so I did go ahead and print all 4 pieces out. I like to start with my first 2 pieces, honestly, the top usually, because usually that's where my words are. That's just me. It's a personal preference though, honestly. You kind of have to do what works for you. I used to put these 2 together first and then try to attach them to the top 2, but I've learned sometimes the alignment can be slightly off, so it's easiest to do 2 pieces and then attach the last 2 one by one so that you can make sure everything lines up correctly. So I do have a small border here. So what I'm going to do is, even though I'm not attaching this side to anything or the top, I'm still going to cut that border off, because when it's time for me to put this on the actual shirt, I don't want the border to, I don't want to think that there's print here, because that's happened to me before and there's not, because it'll be upside down and I won't be able to actually see the print, so to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that off here. And I'll just cut it, you know, it doesn't have to, some people use like a blade and a ruler, like one of the long rulers. I find it easier to just do it this way. Again, it's a preference thing. Some people like the super straight line. I don't think it's necessary. You don't have to have it like perfect. It's not one of those things that you need the precision for. Now for this part, I am going to cut along right here along the line, because I don't know what I'm attaching it to yet as far as how it's going to line up. I don't really see that until I'm actually lining it up. The only thing is you do want to make sure that there is no white. So I did have a little white here, and this is probably where, if you do use a ruler, it will be easier for you. But yeah, I just don't like it. I've tried it. It's just, for me, I don't know. I just prefer my little way here. But this is probably why I don't like to make all over shirts either, because it takes way too long when you don't have a big printer. Alrighty, so this part is where I'm going to not cut yet. I'm going to do the trim of this one first, just like I just did the other one. And this is for a small shirt. If you guys want to see a video on actual sizing, I am going to try and get that posted this week as well. I'm going to make it today and post it later this week. So be on the lookout for that. Alrighty, so what I always do to determine what piece I'm going to cut, I like to line them up to kind of see what's going to be the better piece to cut, if that makes sense. So I see here, and there is an overlap, but again, that's purposeful. You want a little overlap, you can see, because that helps you line your stuff up. So I think it would be most beneficial to cut this one and leave my L here. So I'm gonna cut, and this one's gonna be on top, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna get really close to the edge here. So when I am putting this here, so you can see that that is going to be overlapping perfectly, because I'm paying attention to, I always focus in on like one piece. So my piece here is this, and then I want to make sure that my letter lines up right, because like you see there's like a little tip here. So I like how this is lining up. So okay, so this is just my little takeaway. I have tried several methods, because before I started this, I looked at tons of videos. I purchased a whole tutorial for like $300, and a lot of people use heat tape. Heat tape is so expensive. Masking tape is going to be your best friend for all over shirts. It works, like it can hold up under heat. It works, and you trust me, just get the masking tape. Do not use heat tape. It's just, you're going to go through too much of it, and the heat tape is too expensive. So I'm just going to tear off some little pieces, because I am going to go under here. I like to, though, first just again make sure it lines up. So I'm just going to secure it with like 2 pieces, and then you'll see what I do after that. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm going to be putting it back, and I'm holding it up a little bit so that I don't want it to hit the tape quite yet until it is completely lined up again. So now that it's lined up, I can crease it, and then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to tape like just this top part, because remember, I still have to put something on the bottom. So I don't want to make those super tight quite yet. So that's what we have, just to kind of secure that. Okay, so now for my bottom pieces. This is my first piece here. So I'm just looking to see what is it that I'm going to put down first. So I like to do this just to kind of see where I'm at, to see excuse me, which piece it makes sense to put down first. So I see that this is going to be my major piece. So I'm going to put this one down first, and then I'm going to put this one on top, because it has more of the face on it. So there's less of a chance of having like those little small lines that you may see from the overlap. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to trim. Trim. Okay, so again, this is where we're going to be having some overlap. I'm going to go on top here, so I definitely have to trim the top. Sometimes I'll go a little bit further in. It just depends on how it lines up. So you guys will see what I mean once I actually put it down. And then I need to trim this part as well. Again, you want to make sure there's no white, because if you do have some white, and I did go in really far right there, but it's fine, because I do have my overlap, so it's not gonna kill it. And honestly, some people use like the jagged scissors. I did try that method as well. For me, that did not work. So we're gonna go over. Again, I'm just lining it up. My focal point right now, I'm looking at the end of this wing. So I see that that lines up there. And I really need to focus in on the face. So I really should make that my focal point, actually. So anytime you have a face, that's the most important thing. So kind of focus in on that. So I'm looking at this line right here. So that is where I need to make sure everything lines up. Even if the wings aren't perfect, it's not going to be a big deal, because they're kind of with the shape. You won't be able to see it that well if it is slightly off compared to this part. So I am going to go ahead and get my tape now. Again, same thing. I'm just going to put down a couple small pieces. And I especially want a piece like right here where these pieces divide. And then You want it as flat as possible. And then right here where that face part is going to connect. And then I'm going to do one more for the end. Well, not really the end, but just more towards that wing. Okay, so again, same method. I'm lining it up with the face. And then I'm going to line up here. So that looks good to me. I'm going to now flatten that. Now I could take this part, same thing. I'm going to go ahead and tape down the end down here to keep that in place. Alrighty, so same thing. I'm going to speed this part up because you guys know the drill by now. So I am going, and I normally do this on the floor. It's just easier, but for the sake of the video, I'm doing it here. So this is my last piece. This is usually, to me, the hardest piece because you have to make sure 2 sections are perfectly in place versus 1. So not only do I have to worry about the face, I also have to worry about the name. So you have to make sure, and also there's a design on the shirt. We have to make sure all of that lines up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, because there's so many pieces involved, I am going to go ahead and get 1 piece of tape so that once I find that sweet spot, I can go ahead and put it down. Okay, so let's see here. So that's good. So this is good with the face so far. Now I need to line up the wording. So it looks like I need to go out. So I need to see how far this goes out. It looks like right here. I'm looking at, oh, sorry, guys, you can't see. Let me go up a little with this. So right now I'm looking at this piece of the picture. Okay, there we go. And then I have this part of the name. I have the I here going down. And now this is slightly off, so I want to make sure this is correct as well. So I want to go up just a little bit more. And at this point, guys, it's really just finding a sweet spot where everything lines up. And it looks like we are good to go. Well, I don't like how that is right there. So let me go down a little, come in a little bit more. There we go. So with that piece, I am going to try and go ahead and get everything taped this way. Just because it's much harder to get it in that perfect spot than it is for the other pieces. Because one little change and it will literally mess up everything. Okay, so that's a little bit off. So That's why, again, the masking tape is perfect, because if you need to come back up, you're good. So now we have our full image. And I am going to now flip it over again. And I'm going to make sure everything's good. So the main spot that I need to keep in place is going to be this middle area where everything kind of comes together. In the ends here. So I'm not going to put a ton, and you'll see why once we start to press. And again, everybody kind of does this different. It's just like after doing a couple, I probably did like over 100 of these so far. This is just what has worked for me with my small printer. Okay, so we're good. So now this is what we have. And now we're going to set up our t-shirt. Alrighty, so the next two things that I think you definitely need are this chipboard, and then this is just like cardboard paper. I'm going to insert them here on the video. They are both from Home Depot. The board you get personally cut down. I believe it's in the flooring section. I think it's called chipboard. Again, I'm going to insert it here. I've had it for a long time. But you're going to go ahead and get that cut down. I'm going to give you the dimensions as well. And then this paper I find in the painting section is basically like the paper they put down to paint. Now, a lot of people use RAM board. RAM board is super expensive. As a matter of fact, it's very close to the RAM board. For this roll, it's a really large roll. And you're going to see why that's important in a minute, because you're going to use a lot of paper for this. Like, you definitely use a lot of paper. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and get this rolled out, and I'm going to set my phone up a different way so that you can kind of see what's going on here. Okay, so this is just a Cricut polyester shirt. A lot of people recommend the jersey shirts. I don't have a lot of those. I personally don't like the quality of them, but they recommend them because the Cricut shirts and a lot of other brands, the seam is very lifted or elevated in the shirt, so it makes it where the press is a little less even. That's for the neck as well as like the arms. I don't know, I kind of sacrifice it though because I just like these shirts a lot better. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay your shirt down. Now you can do one or two things. I am going to do it the lazy way. I'm going to just cut it like freestyle cut, but you can trace it and then cut it out. So I'm just going to do a like a little rough cut there. And then we're going to cut around it to get the same shape. So you're going to get close. But you want it slightly bigger so that it gives your shirt like a nice, like some room so that the cardboard actually extends, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to go here, and you'll see why in a minute. Stop there. So I'm going to make it where my arms are longer so that some sticks out so that it doesn't bleed onto the back, just in case I was doing a double-sided shirt. And then the same for the neckline. I'm going to leave some out so that this sticks out. I don't like when print gets in the back of the shirt. It's kind of like lazy to me. But some people don't mind. I see it a lot. It's kind of, again, a preference. And then same for the bottom. You can leave it a little bit longer just for that bleed. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and fold this in half so that we can get our shirt on. Okay. And then if your shirt does have the seams, I do like to make sure at this point that my seams are on the side. And we're going to straighten it out. And then just make sure your tag, if you have a tag on the side of the shirt, this is the back of my shirt, so that's perfect. So it's in here in the back. If it wasn't, I would flip it to the other side because it'll leave like a mark if you don't. And then you're going to try to get this as straight as possible. And again, just making sure all those seams are good. Alrighty, so now we're going to get into placing our image. And I'm going to do this on the board because this is the same board that I'm going to be using when I actually put my image under the heat press. So I like to have it, for this shirt, it's going to be okay to do it the short way. So I am going to get my lint roller and my image and a ton of masking tape. You'll see why in a minute. And then we'll go ahead and get this put down. Alrighty, so I'm just using my lint roller to, you know the drill. If you're looking at all over shirts, I'm pretty sure you're not doing sublimation, but we're getting all the lint off. And I'm going to make it as straight as possible. Now I did, while I was off camera, go ahead and roll out another roll of this, the craft paper like stuff. Again, I don't know the name of it. I'll put it on there. But I'm going to use, this is going to be like our base. So I'm going to take my image down to this. Because I'm going to be moving the paper, not the shirt. I need the shirt to stay in place. So I'm going to take the end. There we go. So this is where I like to use my ring light so that I can see exactly where my image is. Not exactly, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like I can see what's going on under here. So this is a name, so I know I want that in like the center of my shirt. So my center is like here, so that's perfect. Now I just need to check the top to be sure that my words are on. So I could go down a little here, so that's what I'm gonna do. Because my words are really close to the top. But I can't go too far because I don't want to miss out on that. So I need to just go up a little. So I'm good here because I can feel the neckline and my words are here. My sleeves are covered. I am going to fold this back and cut that excess off. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, that's my heat press screaming that it's ready. I'm gonna tape this down. Oops. Again, this masking tape is fine. Okay, same thing. I'm gonna take some of this off, just so I don't have all that ink bleeding. This part, definitely, you definitely don't have to. Like, it's not gonna kill you if you don't. So same here. And I like to kind of get close because once you start pressing, I try to do as little passes as possible. I don't want to like over press it, if that makes sense to some people. I'm just feeling for my shirt. Again, y'all, this is what has worked for me. I feel like these type of things, it's like everybody has their own little way what works for them, because a lot of stuff that I was seeing, it just, baby, I cannot get it to work. And I was so frustrated, like. none of this is actually on the shirt, the tape that is. It's just on the thing. So the idea is while I'm under, and you're going to see it in a moment, I'm going to be turning this as I am pressing. So let's go over to our heat press. Okay, so this is what the setup looks like. Again, this is a small heat press. It is a, if the paper is 13 by 19, I think it's like a 14 by 20, something close to that. I'll put it here when I figure it out. But yeah, it's a smaller heat press. It's not the smallest, but you have to have your chipboard here. And then again, I'm going to be using this paper to move it around. Now you can put a piece of paper on top of here. I'm going to go ahead and do that because I have been getting a lot of ink on my actual heat press. But I've seen a lot of people just press it how it is. And that's okay for this because you're not touching any fabric. And then I have to have a chair here to hold up the other side of the actual chipboard so that my print isn't like, I don't know, so you'll get more creases if your board is like leaning down, or if you don't use a board at all, you might get like those crease lines. So that's what you're going to see here. And I'll be back in just a moment to go ahead and get started pressing. I'll show you guys my first press. It's going to be kind of hard for me to record and press everything just because of the angles I have to be at to get to the heat press. But my first press is going to be my middle because again, remember I told you this shirt has like a thicker seam. So I need to get that middle part as flat as possible. So instead of doing like 4 on the side, like, you know, this side, that side, then these two, I always go through, do a middle press first. For whatever reason, that works with actually not having that crease, that where you have that fading like around the neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and do my first press. I'm doing 400 degrees at 60 seconds. I'm going to press it just like you see here. I am going to go ahead and put a piece of this paper, the craft paper on top, and I'm going to leave that in place as well as I press. So I'll be right back. So this is what it looks like once it's down and actually pressing. Again, it's in the middle. You'll see I do have some ends, so I'm gonna do those separately as 4, but after this I'm gonna do the 2 bottom pieces and then I go back and do the sleeves. No real reason why, that's just the way that I do it. Again, you have to do what works for you. Once you start doing it, you'll kind of get a method to the madness. Okay, so after you press, one of the most important things is that you can see where you've pressed. You clearly can see it. So I try my best not to completely overlap it. Like I want a small overlap just so I don't get harsh lines, because sometimes that does happen. And I am going to go ahead and take from the bottom this piece of tape off. Usually I take it off the sides too. I honestly forgot. I just find that without the tape, sometimes the tape makes its own lines. So yeah, you can, normally I just leave like a tiny piece right there. We're gonna see if it did it this time. Hopefully not, because I did forget that. But yeah, I just take all of this off because it's already in place. Like I have it in place by this tape on the side, so it's not gonna go anywhere. Alrighty, so now this is what I mean by I'm just gonna turn the paper. So I am going to, and let me cut that side. Let me get my scissors. We're gonna cut this just so we can get super close to that end, so that when we're going in, it's really easy. So we're gonna be right there so that, oh sorry guys, you can't see, so that you see that line, there's an overlap. I want that line to not appear once I actually finish. So give me a second. So that's how the second side looks while it's being pressed. All right, so I have pressed every side. So now it's time for the moment of truth. All you have to do is take it off. Okay, so I do see a harsh line, but that's okay, it happens. So there is one harsh line here. You can see it there. So this shirt I would not sell, but we did see the process of this, and that came from my initial press. When I repressed, I didn't get close enough to this part, but I'm still gonna upload this video because it oh Lord, I can't even talk now, because it still does give you a good idea of how to go ahead and create an all over design. Now this is a part of the underarm part with the creases, but most people, I mean, whether you have a big printer, small printer, if you're using shirts with larger seams, you're going to get a little bit of discoloration here a lot of times, because it's really hard to get this shirt extremely straight. So most people just put that in their descriptions. You know, there may be some discrepancy in like color and things of that nature. I've seen that on quite a few people's websites. But overall, we are going to still post this video because we are posting the content this year. Again, a little line here. We have a little one there. That is from the actual press. When I'm pressing down, sometimes it does cause like a little bit of an offset. But overall, it turned out well. Again, I don't too much do all overs right now with the smaller printer, but I will be doing them more once I get my bigger printer. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if I should do another video. But I am happy about the top part, because usually this is the part that has an issue. You have more discoloration there. So that's not really an issue this time, but I do have that little line there. So that is going to just about wrap this up. I'm gonna hold it up so you guys can see it from another angle. Hold on. Alrighty, so this is how our shirt looks. So again, not like when you're really looking, like if you know what to look for, you'll see little discrepancies. But again, I would redo it if I was selling this one. I'm just gonna wear it myself because this is my baby, my cousin. So we're going to just kind of, you know, keep going, practice a little bit more. But yes, with these shirts, there is the potential to have, you know, there's discoloration from time to time, and even the little underarm part, once the person actually puts the shirt on. So let me go ahead and I'll put it on, because again, this isn't for an actual customer, it's just my shirt. So once the shirt is actually put on, like that kind of stuff you don't see anyways. So it's like a, hold on, waiting on my gimbal, come down. So it's not bad at all. So let me know what you guys think, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave me any feedback that you may have here in the comments, and if you guys want to see more videos, I will do a stole video as well with a small printer. Let me know in the comments, and I will go ahead and reply to those, and I hope to post more content. Thank you guys for joining. Have a great day.